Hello, everyone out there. This is Peter Harris, and today's training is on why aspiring commercial real estate investors fail. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to address one thing in this training, and that is I sought the wisdom of ultra successful and my fellow professional commercial real estate investors, and I asked them this one all-important question. And the question was, if you could start all over again, what would you do differently to avoid the biggest rookie mistakes and failures? In other words, what costly mistakes did you make when first starting out? I'm going to share with you their failures, but I'm also going to provide you with a few solutions. Okay, so let's get started. Failure number one is missed opportunities. They waited on the sidelines for the perfect timing to jump in. It never came, and it still hasn't come. Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. I'm sure you will agree with that. Now, this quote here is directly from them, right? It says, Peter, our all-time best deals were created, not waited upon. So the question is, why were these opportunities missed? Well, I have a list of 5 things that from our research show why these opportunities were missed. Number one is fear, right? We all understand, fear moving forward, right? Fear making a mistake. Number two is misinformation. There is so much stuff out there. Which do you believe? Which one do you take guidance from and dive in with? Analysis paralysis means doing too much homework and not taking enough action and going to seminars and watching webinars and reading and doing nothing, right? That's a sure cause of a missed opportunity. Number 4, lack of knowledge. We all understand that, right? We're always, including myself, constantly seeking knowledge. And the 5th one is isolation. What this is they were trying to do everything by themselves, not getting help, right? Just isolation. I'll do it myself. I don't need any help. And they end up doing nothing, right? So this is failure number 1. Well, when I explain the solution, let me just say this. People typically learn in one of 3 ways. Number 1 is they'll rely on the experience of their friends and family to kind of show them the way, to kind of guide them, right? But most times they really don't have the time to work with you, to walk with you through the entire process, right? The second way people learn is they compare their way into learning through trial and error. And of course, this can be a very expensive and time-consuming and frustrating option. I don't recommend that you do this, right? That's the second way people learn. The third way is a person can secure the aid of a mentor, someone that they have chemistry with, who cares about their vision, who shares their vision, and who has a vested interest in them doing well, right? So that's the third way people learn. But you know what? It all reverts back to these 5 things: fear, misinformation, analysis paralysis, lack of knowledge, and isolation, right? These are the 5 causes of missed opportunities. All right? Okay, let's go to failure number 2. Failure number 2 is the inability to analyze a property. One of the biggest reasons why a commercial property fails out the gate was underestimating the operating expenses of a commercial property because there are so many moving pieces there. This is by far the single most important reason why a property experiences negative cash flow and eventually fails. Now, did you know that industry standard property expenses, this is commercial properties, can differ from state to state by as much as 30%? Did you know that? Here's an example. If you compare a commercial property that's in Denver, Colorado, and another property that's in Dallas, Texas, this is, similar property, the property expenses are 30% higher in Texas. All right? Same purchase price, right? Same income, but the property expenses are 30% higher, right? You have to know those type of things. If you don't know how to estimate expenses accurately, how can you forecast your cash flow? You can't get this information from the internet or from any type of company. The worst thing this is the worst thing you can do, right? Is to rely on a seller, the seller's property information, or a broker's property brochure or their spreadsheet, right? Both of those things are 100% incorrect 100% of the time, right? So here's a solution. So after investing and teaching in commercial estate for about 2 decades now, we've developed about, I would say, 12 different calculations, or what I call KPIs, or KPI is short for key performance indicators. Those indicators tell us right away if a deal is good, average, or ugly. It's taken years and tons of good deals, average deals, ugly deals, right, on my part, to be able to share these with the people I work with, my students, in a very understandable way. So that's the solution, is having to know which key performance indicators to use for which type of property. Okay, that's failure number 2. Failure number 3 is the inability to analyze your market effectively, right? Number 1 is market trends. Knowing which ones are important, right? Those are, by the way, the ones that are hardest to find, and which ones are not important. These are the ones that are easiest to find and used by everyone, but they're not that important, right? You know what wins here? Experience. You have to have experience of investing to know how to decide which trends are important for your investment objective. It takes experience, okay? Secondly, supply and demand. You must know when your market is about to reach its tipping point. That is, when supply and demand are about to equal each other. That's a very important scenario. And when it happens, it's extremely important. If you don't understand it, when this happens, your equity, this is, your down payment and the equity you built up in a property. So your equity and profits will be trapped in the property until possibly the next market cycle 7 to 10 years later. This is not good if you're using commercial real estate as a retirement vehicle, right? Which was the case in most of this research and the people we interviewed. All right, number 3, the little things that can have a huge impact. You have to know these things. Rent control laws and how to get around it. Unwrapping large profits in lease audits and lease restructures. And having strategies for realizing the upside potential on their property. Those things are what equates to real wealth, right? I took a class in leasing, commercial real estate leasing, and a professor basically told me that, Peter, when you're analyzing commercial real estate and there are leases involved, the leases are so important that when you buy the property, you're actually buying the leases and the property comes for free. Okay, that's how important leases are. And leases are so important to analyzing your market effectively. All right, here's the solution: information utilization. You need to be able to roll your market and your deal data into the appropriate deal technique. All right, it's not rocket science, right? It takes experience, right, to shortcut you to success. It takes experience. Okay, let's move on to failure number 4. Poorly designed exit strategies. My research agrees that creative financing can be one of the greatest ways to acquire commercial real estate, and it's one of my personal favorite ways to buy. But if your exit strategy is not well designed, you can lose all of your profits, lose your credibility, waste all of your hard work thus far, and it could cause a swift departure from this business. It really can, if you don't understand how to structure exit strategies. So having multiple, well thought out, razor sharp exit strategies is the key to making money and having what I call lasting power in this business, right? Not being a one deal success or a 2 deal success. I'm talking decades of success. Okay, it requires having this type of knowledge, and the key here is having it figured out before you buy the property. Okay, that's the key. It's very doable. All right, so exit strategies don't have to be complicated. They shouldn't be, right? If it's complicated, I don't trust it. But it must be simple enough to execute in a conservative and a timely manner. Okay, common sense, right? Now, some extra strategies include a cash out refinance, a sales leaseback, a 1031 exchange, a reverse 1031 exchange, and the list goes on and on and on, right? So here's a solution. Get good at this part. Get good at designing exit strategies. It's really important, okay? I can help you out with that. Failure number 5, not knowledgeable enough in structuring deals. Boy, this one had a lot of pain points, right? And this one was probably the one where we did the most research on because we got the most feedback on, okay? Not knowledgeable enough in structuring deals. The following are noted missed opportunities for motivated sellers due to not knowing what deal structure approach to have. Okay, so I'll give you a few examples of seller situations that what are phenomenal situations, but you need to know how to take advantage of them. Here's the first one. Let's say you find a seller ready to retire. He owns the property free and clear, meaning there's no mortgage, but he has capital gains tax concerns. What do you do in that case? What do you do? This is a great situation to take advantage of and to create a win-win for you and the seller. So how do you, what deal technique do you use for this? Okay. Secondly, the seller's burnt out. His commercial loan's assumable, but he has a large prepaid penalty. All right. So we love problems like this because we have great solutions for things for a seller in this situation. Next is the seller's nearing foreclosure, has lots of equity, but neither of you qualify for a loan, right? What do you do in this case? Next one is the seller's out of state and he's absent physically and mentally, right? You're going to find a lot of those the way we market. And he wants to do a 1031 tax deferred exchange. This is a very common occurrence, Next is the seller wants to JV or joint venture with you, right? This is a great opportunity, but you have to be very careful. And he's always set up a profit split structure at 50-50 the first tier and 80-20 the second tier. This basically means that if you can JV with them and you guys reach a certain benchmark, the profits are split 50-50. If you reach benchmark number 2, right, then the profits go 80% to you and 20% to him. Okay, this is not typical, but it's something that we've done in the past that you have to make yourself open to. But this is also a missed opportunity when a seller presented this to one of my people I researched, and they didn't know how to take care of this situation. Okay, so these are quite typical seller scenarios that you're going to run into once you're in the business. You must know how to approach each and what technique to apply, right? If you can't, then you're going to lose out. You're going to lose out on that one deal, and we all have that one deal, right? So what's the solution? So as the deal fits, you're going to have to learn where and when to incorporate things such as a master lease agreement, a seller carry first mortgage, seller carry second mortgage, an installment sale, and I can go on and on. So the other creative strategies that we use in commercial real estate. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different situations, right? You need to know, and they're not too hard to figure out, right? Since we run into these all the time, you're gonna have to know what strategy to use. All right. Failure number 6, thinking too small, right? Thinking too small. When my fellow investors first started, and now looking back, right? Thinking too small was a big regret of theirs, but it also had to do with their self-limiting beliefs. Many of them have told me that they had at one point a choice between buying a 5-unit apartment building while at the same time a 60-unit apartment building. Well, by the time they bought and closed the 5-unit, they realized that it would have been the same amount of work as a 60 units. And I totally agree. The two big differences here were, one, the 60 unit would have allowed them to exit the rat race and meet their goals in half the time, right? And two, setting their bar higher by going for the 60 unit would have personally grown them immensely. And that's what this business is about. It's about growing you. So what I mean by that is once they acquire to 60 unit, there's no reason to buy anything smaller ever again. There's a saying, if you already know how to make a dream come true, then you're thinking too small. Okay? Got it? That is so true. All right, let's go to the seventh and last failure, right? Quitting before even starting, right? The biggest reason why people quit pursuing commercial real estate and thus failing is because of a lack of focus. The person who chases two rabbits catches neither. Commercial real estate is a focused process. It must be, right? It really must be. The entire acquisition process is actually the same for an apartment building, a shopping center, an office building, self-storage, mobile home park, etc. So the process is the same. The principle behind the process is the same too. Now, an investor who does not follow a proven and focused process will chase multiple rabbits at once, catch neither, and will go home with nothing but an unfulfilled dream, right? Nearly all of us, myself included, can really relate to that, right? How we have chased many things over the years, but because we didn't focus, right? We're holding on to nothing, right? Our results were nil, right? I have an acronym for focus, FOCUS, right? FOCUS equals follow one course until successful, okay? That's what I do. That's what I teach my students to do. In fact, our most successful students aren't the ones with the most money. It's not. Interesting, huh? It's the ones that follow our process to the T and focus on the right things. Focus is the key. Focus. All right? Okay. That was 1 through 7. I'm going to give you a quick summary. Missed opportunities, the inability to analyze a property, the inability to analyze your market effectively. These are, these top 3 things are, boy, it's the top 3 in my opinion of why aspiring commercial real estate investors fail. Number 4, poorly designed exit strategies, not knowledgeable enough and knowing how to structure deals, thinking too small, and quitting before even starting. Okay? All right. So those are the 7 main reasons why aspiring commercial real estate investors fail. All right. And I give you a few solutions as well. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's insightful for you. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks, everyone.